Hi guys, welcome to Manhood Explained. My name is Camille. Today is 2nd of March 2020 and welcome to live number 66. Today, as I mentioned in subject, I'm going to record about something so important that this video might be, for especially you guys, be one of the most important videos you can watch on the internet right now. And you're going to understand when I'm going to say what I'm going to say. But I want you to understand, because today we're going to talk about very important subject with men's sexuality, and I see that we have completely overboard. We completely understand what it is, and I would like to kind of propose my theory about it, because it might change the whole perspective and change the whole game for you. That's why that's so important. So first of all, I want to start with mentioning one of the things that kind of pushed me towards this. And that's why I've recorded the video yesterday, kind of building baseline for all this. I told you about it. But what I found is on my Instagram feed, I found a photo of one of the most known guys, or very popular guy in the internet right now. And I'm not gonna mention his name because I'm gonna use what he posted and with his girl, and I'm gonna try to go a little bit deeper than what they say. So I don't want to kind of bash him. So, but I've got full respect to him, what he's doing, and I see that he's doing a great job. So, but this is what I found. I'm gonna read it to you basically. They're posting a video and they're holding, both of them holding a piece of paper or carton, and they basically state something like this: our number one rule for initiating sex. And she's holding, I won't shame you for asking, and he's saying, I won't shame you for saying no. And it is cool that they're posting something like this, and even more reading what is their comment about it on, under the photo on his profile and her profile, and they say that it helped them to build a relationship, and this is a very important rule for them, and this is great, and I'm completely pro, and I'm wishing all the best for them. And I want to kind of underline this because I don't want to use this as a just to say that they are wrong or something. No, completely the opposite. If that's helped them, that's so awesome. And if that rule will help you, that's brilliant. Again, I'll read it again. I won't shame you for asking, and I won't shame you for saying no. But if you watched yesterday's video, especially if you didn't, you can just stop and or pause and just go watch that one. It's like 7-minute video, but it'll give you a much wider view on what I'm talking about and why this is whole connected and how you're supposed to understand it. But in general, if you're here, then I'm gonna just say it what I said in very shortly. So basically what I said in that video is that whatever happens over and over and over again, when you see this pattern, you're supposed to know that it is important. You have to pay attention. And first thing that you need to do is to find what is the story behind. What does it really mean that it happens? Why? What is the reason that it is happening over and over again? Because what I said is, like, if you're not going deeper, you're building rules which are basically keeping things as they were. But if you go for understanding, you'll be able to go much deeper, and then based on this understanding, build or create something like a guidelines that will help you to build something more and kind of make progress in things that are happening, because now you understand why they're happening. You are able to do something about it. So what they say is that they see that this thing will happen over and over again. That was the first thing that I kind of asked myself when I saw this. They know that he's gonna come back to her. Excuse me. He knows that he's gonna come back to her, asking to be intimate with him. And the first question is, why it's happening? That's the first thing that kind of I want to ask. This is the first question that comes into my head. And for so many of us, we think, especially as guys, that it's obvious. But I would like to say that for us and for ladies, it's not so obvious. That's why we kind of miss the point, this whole thing of men's sexuality. Because, listen, this is my thesis. I'm just gonna state it right now. So we will be able to look at this and see how that changed this whole thing in your eyes. Because my theory is this, that sexual intimacy for men is how we digest and how we express our emotions. Again, sexual intimacy for men is how we digest and express our emotions. And listen, if you watch some of my videos, you kind of know exactly that this is what I say, this is obvious, and most of the things that I say should be obvious for you, but it's not. That's why I'm recording those videos, because we still got issues with these things. But we as guys, we have so our ability to feel emotions, it's so narrow in comparison to ladies that it's completely uncomparable. It's like with colors. They see like 16 millions of them. We can say like 16. Maybe if you're married for some time, maybe you'll have 25. Wow. But we know basic colors, and the same thing happens with emotions. And even more, we don't even we're not even have this kind of narrowed version of emotions that we feel. We have issues with explaining them, with expressing them. So then we know the basic emotions like anger, like fear, like lust, like the things that we kind of know how to explain. But then try to define, you as a guy, try to define it. What does love mean? Many of us are not able to wrap our head around it. So that's why it's easier for us to say, I like her. So many times you'll use this rather than love, because love is like this abstract concept that we don't really understand. Ladies understand it completely, and that's why they're great mothers. That's why they're perfect, caregivers, and that's why it's work in them. But for us, it's like this. But this is the whole point, and that's why many ladies are kind of complaining about it. You don't talk to me. You don't express your emotions. You don't say what you feel. Many times we don't know what we feel. It's even hard to explain. It's like so hard, and that's why this is one of the things I kind of understood, that we don't really speak about emotions. We express them physically. And I want you to understand that when I say that we express our emotions in sexual intimacy, it's not about sex. Because no, ask yourself, if you're in love with a girl, you became a couple, or maybe you just freshly married, do you really think about having sex with someone else? If you're a normal guy, you won't. She's there, I'm in love with her, I want to spend as much time with her, and that's the whole point, being with her, not with someone else. So it's not about sex. Second, I will tell you a very short story, which kind of it's very important for me because it explained a lot. I had a friend or I have a friend who is basically he was in a relationship with a girl. I don't remember if that was a marriage or just they were together. It doesn't matter. But they had a child, and after they had a child, this whole thing went south, and they split. And he was so devastated by it that out of this anger and pain, he basically decided to go for a rampage, and he basically for the next 6 months slept with any girl that wanted to sleep with him. And he's really nice guy, and physically and so on, so he had no issues. He signed up to any application, any Tinder-ish thing that was there at that time, any forum or discussion list or whatever, and he slept with I don't know, probably more than 100 girls in that time. But interestingly enough, after that we talked on a coffee or something, and he told me something that kind of changed the way I see all of this. He said something very interesting. He said, "You know what? I got bored." And I said, "Mate, how you can get bored with with basically living every man's dream to sleep with so many girls?" And he said something tremendous, something crucial. He said, "Listen, after that time you get bored because what you find out is that what you really want and what you really need is to come back home and have there someone that you'll be able to talk to and someone that you'll be able to hug with." And my head just exploded, because that was something that was said to me by a guy who experienced it all. He was there, he was living this dream. And even though he said that there's something more than just sex. And I, the kind of end, the highest, the kind of argument that I can bring that I thought is, do you remember Helen from Troy? You know this story? There was a guy who basically started a war. He shed the blood just because of a girl, of a lady. So do you really think that, if he could have any girl there, he was a king, right? I remember this whole story. But the whole point is that he basically waged war just because of a woman that he been in love with. And if you read books, if you watch movies, if you read history, there is a lot of bloodshed because of women. So it's not about sex. We know, we kind of subconsciously know that there's more to it than just sexuality. So then let's look at the emotions. What kind of emotions can we express with physical intimacy? What is your like an end stage that you want to go with someone if you feel this chemistry, if you feel that you're close, that you're in love? You want to be intimate with the person, right? That's how you cannot be closer than being close physically. But then what about emotions like anger or stress? What do you do when you're stressed? And I talked with a few ladies who are women or wives of guys who are public figures or something. And I listened to some of them on the internet, and I heard it at least few times that the best thing you can do to release the stress of your man is to be close and intimate with him. If you're sad, let's say someone died in your family, will you say your girl go sleep on a couch, or you're gonna get a blanket and go there? You're not gonna let her go. You want her to be with you, because that's the way you express your emotion. You want to be close to someone. And interestingly enough, when you basically have an orgasm, or this whole act finishes, many of you will experience this standard as well, that you can fall asleep. Why? Because you went to the end of your abilities, and your body basically resets. And if you want to follow, you may want to go deeper in this subject. Follow John Gray, the guy who wrote "Women Are from Venus and Men Are from Mars." He wrote this whole thing, and I watched a few of his videos regarding this, about how hormonal. This whole hormonal craziness happens in our bodies, about relationships and sexuality and so on. He explains so much of this, kind of give it a kind of scientific proof that what I thought for so many years is true, because he basically says that this is all based on hormones and so on. So I was fascinated that there is a proof for this. So again, it's like we express our emotions through being close, but there are few buts in this, and you want to understand. Let me just look on my nose, because it's going to be a long video probably, but one argument that will kind of completely explain this whole thing to you probably is when you ask yourself one simple question. If you would have the situation when you can have just one thing from your woman in your relationship, one thing that will basically should provide to you and nothing else. And there's a whole variety of things. She can, cook for you, she can clean the apartment, she can earn money, she can, pay your bills, all of those things, one thing. I'm sure that most of you will kind of say this one thing, that you want her to be intimate with you. That's the one thing that you really need from her. And this is very interesting, because if you look close enough, you don't really want her to be with you. You want her to want to be with you. And now we're going deeper in this whole subject, because now you understand that it's not only how you express your emotions, but even more, what you really want is her wanting to be with you. And we're getting closer to the truth, because now let's look at it this way. How that works in comparison to ladies. Because if you look at them, what in most of the cases how they want to be fulfilled and what brings the happiness in their lives is that you are making them emotionally fulfilled and satisfied. And how you do this? You are there involved in the relationship. You are there helping there, and she just knows that you want to be with her. That's what she wants. And then if you look close enough, we exactly the same thing, but we express it differently. We don't need, as they want us to be, they want us to want to be in the relationship, but we want them to want to be with us. See what I'm saying? This is exactly the same thing. And it's fascinating because it just shows that we've got the same need, we just express it differently. And this is fascinating because then, if you understand this, you will never use word shame. Because if you know that this is your need as if this is mine, then the whole point is that you know that this is not even what you want, this is what you need. Because narrowing this whole thing down, you will understand that I just want to be close, and I want you to want to be close with me. Because that's how I feel this connection with you. This is exactly where I can be completely vulnerable. This is exactly where I can show you that I want to be so close to you. This is the ultimate moment of closeness. Exactly as you feel when I'm kind of involved in this whole relationship, and you feel emotionally satisfied. So that's what I want you to. That's the whole point. That's the whole truth. That's the same thing, just expressed differently, and it all goes toward emotions. But then you understand that if it's gonna go south, it's gonna produce a lot of consequences, a lot of impacts, a lot of things that will happen. That many of us will look at it and say that this is something wrong, or this is something you don't understand. But when you understand the truth, when you understand that this is the central equation, then it's completely understand why this thing happened and what does it mean. Because whatever will happen, it'll mean that something is that you've got this closeness, or you don't in your relationship. And let me just read the list of things that just out of the top of my head that you might want to kind of consider, because that'll be the direct consequence of you being in a close relationship with your girl or not, or being able to or not. Cheating, sexual deviancy, rape, beating and physical aggression, and more positive things like quickies, like angry sex or rough sex. How does marriage falls into all of this? That's going to be directly connected to this. This sexual revolution 2.0, that's how I say this tendency to say, yeah, I can sleep with everyone. And how is that having impact on this whole thing? How we react to beauty. This is an amazing thing. It's very simple, but amazing. Why there's something like that you want to sleep with your wife or your girl friends. It's this thing, or this. I heard that there's this whole thing now very popular in porn, which is sleeping with your stepdaughter or stepsister. Why we have this tendency to go that way? It's going to be connected directly to this whole thing. Different type of sex and how we can approach it. All of those things will be directly connected to this. And many times we just concentrate on them, but we don't understand that if you don't feel fulfilled as a guy, if you are not close because of any reason, if you're not close intimately, this is where it's gonna go. So listen, if you watch this video and say, mate, you touched something, I'm gonna say one thing too, and as I told you at the beginning of one of the first videos, I'm not selling anything. I'm just giving you what I have because it might help you. But if I know that this video is going to be controversial, and for some of you it's going to be very important, especially for you guys. That's why I'll say go to the manhoodexplained.project.com, because there I'm just finishing two trainings. Because if you see that this is important and you need to go deeper in this, that's the way to go. manhoodexplained.project.com. And I'm just going to stop because I don't want to be sad, because it's not where I'm here. I just know that this subject is very important. Because What is conclusion from all of this? You're not a pig. You can be, but your automatic reaction is why you need this, or why you think and need this sex all the time, as kind of said in this picture, is not because you just need to have the sexual experience. You just, you're this, pig, as we hear all the time. No, you're not. Your basic why, it's because you express emotion. This is what you need. You feel fulfilled, that you're close to someone by being sexually intimate. Exactly the same thing happens to ladies, but they feel emotional connection. That's how they feel close to each other. That's why when she cheats, and you can hear it all the time. What is the reason? She said, "I felt so lonely." Exactly the same things with guys. If you're not having intimacy in your relationship, or it just doesn't work, or she just always not satisfied, and this is like this consensual rape, that she basically says, "Oh, okay, let's do this." It's not gonna work. You need this intimacy, this feeling that you're close to someone, expressed in sexuality, in this intimacy, intimate contact. So that's why this is what I want you to understand. You're not a pig boy. You just need to be close to someone. So one side note for you ladies, if you're watching this video, if you ever played this game, or playing this game right now, that you treat sexuality as a currency, meaning you're gonna train your guy by not sleeping with him just because you want him to do something, you're destroying the guy. You're basically hurting him, and it's like starving a monster, or starving a lion, and just poking him to do that trick. If you poke him long enough and starve him, he will bite and he will hurt you, and you will destroy this relationship. You can do nothing worse to your guy than just not being intimate with him, and even more, not wanting to be with him. But going back to you guys, if you watch my videos, and this is kind of the thing that I want to finish with, I want you to understand, as I said with every video, fish rots from heads down. And in the most of heterosexual relationships, it all will come down to that she really wants you to lead in a different way, and different degree, but she would want you to lead. So that's why what I want to say is basically start being involved in a relationship. Try to make her as satisfied as possible emotionally. But in the meantime, try to figure out, what do you really think about this thing? What I said. If you agree with me, because maybe you don't. I don't know everything. I'm just I'm telling you what I think and what works in my case. But if I'm right, then that would be one of the most important things for you to understand. Then start to bring positive things in your relationship, build a relationship with your girl, and then get her on board. Maybe you want to just, think about this and just get back with her and watch this video. Maybe it's going to be so important, just maybe watch this video, maybe talk to her, maybe both. Because this is exactly what would need to happen. Both of you have to be on the same boat. You both need to understand what needs to happen so she would be fulfilled, and what will have to happen for you to be fulfilled and happy in your relationship. But you'll have to start, because this is what I want you to take from this video. If I'm right, this video might be this golden key for you to understand how you can be happy in your relationship. And understanding this thing and getting on board with your lady to understand it will be the gate for you to finally be happy. And then you will be able to do so much more for her and for the whole family. So think about it, do something about it, and above all, lead and be happy, my friend. See you tomorrow.